What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 19 of Shots on Target with your host, Brad Betts, your go-to show for global football analysis and betting. Today is Thursday, September 19th. We did miss our play of the day yesterday narrowly as Sparta Prague in a dominant performance, 3-0 on the goal sheet. Salzburg had 70% of the possession, had just as many chances, had a goal overturned in the first half due to offsides. So that game ends 3-0, so we narrowly missed that pick. It is something we want to notate and make sure that we are on the right page. So we're going to continue to analyze the Champions League from top to bottom, going over, covering it all to make sure we have all of our bases checked for today. We're going to answer any questions that you guys have in the chat. Once we analyze the Champions League, we're also going to look at two matches in Sweden today. All three matches that we're going to be covering heavily are coming up here at 11:45 and 12 o'clock. So 11:45 a.m. Central Time, 12 o'clock p.m. Central Time, just a few hours. So this is time-sensitive information. So let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Our first match that we want to highlight, it's no surprise. Every time they're on the slate, we have to give them a look. It's Häcken. Häcken in the Swedish Allsvenskan come in scoring in 25 of their last 27. They've conceded in 44 of their last 48 matches. That's regular production. They've also hit over 2.5 in 23 of their last 26 matches. But this is confusing today, mostly because of who is on the away end. We have Djurgården, who scored in 20 of their last 24 matches, but they've only conceded, or they have conceded in 9 of their last 11 in the league, so that is regular production. But on that overline, they've only hit over 2.5 goals in 2 of the last 10 matches. So that is some cause for concern with Häcken bettors today. The last matchup between these two finished off at 3-3 with Djurgården at home. But yeah, it was 3-3. Häcken had all 3 goals early, and then Djurgården scored 3 goals late, 87, 89, and the 90 plus. So it is something to notate there. It took them a while to get on the score sheet, even while at home in a potential overmatch. So let's be careful with Häcken today. Maybe one of the only times we're careful. Let's maybe look to attack both teams to score live if it drops. If you want the over 2.5 separately, that would be great. But as a parlay piece together, it could be something with some concern, just based solely on how Djurgården is playing lately. Let's jump into our second match in Sweden. It's a match between Elfsborg and Norrköping. Nobody's surprised to hear anything about Norrköping if you're following Brad Betts on any of the platforms. Elfsborg come in scoring in 34 of their last 39 matches, and they've conceded in 20 of their last 25 in the league. That's regular production from a top-sided Elfsborg squad in Sweden, one of the top sides. Then Norrköping, one of the bottom squads in Sweden. A high performer, though. They've scored coming into this match in 19 of their last 20. They've also conceded in 32 of their last 37 matches. That's insane production, hitting BTTS at a regular rate. Same with Elfsborg. Elfsborg heavily favored in the minus 400 range. I would not be surprised to see them win this game and score multiple goals. However, on paper, Norrköping is managing to find the net with regularity lately, as well as in this matchup history. If you take a look, when these two teams play one another, well, in 6 straight matches and 9 of the last 10 matches that they played one another, both teams to score has come in. It's sitting, hovering around minus 115. It started to tick up this morning around minus 130, minus 135. Depending on your book, so make sure you shop it. That is definitely a play I am looking at today. I do like it. It doesn't meet the play of the day category because I have a little bit of question mark on Norrköping. Elfsborg are a top side. There is a chance that they get a clean sheet. It just looks so appetizing lately for Norrköping to continue to hit these numbers. So be mindful of that match as it's playing and maybe drop in if you like it. Now, Red Star. Let's talk about Red Star. Red Star come in, or Crvena Zvezda, so Red Star Belgrade, depending on what your book says, in the Champions League. at 11:45 a.m. Central Time. They come in scoring in 49 straight at home. That's regular production. 2+ goals in 27 of their last 32. So they score, whether they're home or away. You see Red Star putting up goals in their league as well as in Europe. They've scored in 13 straight matches in Europe. They've conceded in 15 of their last 16 European matches as well. So a dominant performer, both offensively and porous defensively, especially when they're in Europe too. And when you look at this, Red Star in their European matches last season, they hit both teams to score in the home and away fixture for all both Man City matches, both Leipzig matches, both Trabzonspor matches out of Turkey, and Ferencvaros. They hit both teams to score in both of their matches as well. So you're seeing goals come in on both sides whenever Red Star take the pitch, especially in Europe. So let's take a look at Benfica, their opponent, who is actually favored on this slate, with players like Di Maria, who have been stalwarts throughout Europe their entire career, should be offensively sound. They've scored in 39 of their last 45 matches. That's 87%. They've conceded, though, in 10 of their last 12 in Europe as well. So Benfica are a regular performer in Europe. Whenever you see them on the slate, in the history of it, you recognize that they are very porous. They concede, especially against teams who are solid teams outside of their league. They do a pretty good job in the league, about 50-50-ish, maybe a little higher, but when they're in Europe, they are a regular conceder. They're going to be away from home against a Red Star squad who scored in 49 straight at home, and that includes both matches against Leipzig and Manchester City last season. This one sets up really nicely for that both teams to score line. I got that at -150. It's around -150 at Bet365. It's also there at ESPN Bet. And then you look at the other books, MGM -155, FanDuel 160, DK at 165. It kind of meets all that criteria that I spoke to last week. You want DK to be the ugliest line. That tends to say, hey, the books agree. This is a solid line. Let's try to let all these other books take a beating, and we'll price it just a little bit higher to only attract those who always bet with our book in itself. So this kind of concludes our 3 looks for the day, our play of the day, as well as our best look over in Sweden and Häcken. You can't ignore them. Their success for us lately, all season, it's unbelievable. So if the lines drop, or if you feel comfortable, maybe look at that game. I'm going to jump into the chat, answer a few questions, see what we got working with here, see if I can be of some help. Kylie, thanks for being here again, as always. Kylie loves the Red Star, both teams to score. That was the first message. Love it. Nice precursor. Stad Brest, both teams to score. That was actually my 4th play of the day. Didn't make the top 3 criteria because it's more of me guessing with my eyes. Stad Brest can't keep a clean sheet. They should score while at home. Sturm Graz, on the other hand, are a top performer when they're in Europe. I usually like it when they're in Europa League more than I do with the Champions League. They tend to find the net more with lower competition, but they're always a regular conceder. I would not be surprised to see both teams score in that match. So be mindful of that. But I'm a little nervous at the Champions League right now. When you look at day 1, absolute high flyers. Teams came out ready to play non-stop. It was a non-stop attack. Yeah, they weren't necessarily as concerned about their defensive end on day 1, but then day 2 completely switched. It could have been matchup specific, but it is something to notate that day 1 of the Champions League saw 4 teams hit BTTS, saw 5 teams hit the over. Day 2 saw 1 hit the BTTS, I believe, and was it 4 shoot the under? It was an ugly day. Missed chances all over Europe. I don't know what that's going to mean for today. We've got a very tricky slate. Feyenoord, whatever you want to say, taking on Leverkusen. Leverkusen are conceding regularly, especially in their league play, but in Europe they do too. They tend to play things very conservatively to start. and then build later in the game depending on where they sit between the two. They don't lose a lot of games, but they've looked pretty rough lately. Feyenoord at home have scored regularly. The over should hit in that match, but I'm not comfortable, and I'm not going to play the lines that they have listed. So that's an interesting one. Atletico Madrid, team total over 1.5. Good look if Atletico comes out hungry. They have so many attackers. Right now, it almost looks convoluted up top to where they don't know where each other should be running, which space they should be shifting in to allow their man to be most successful, to be able to put the right people into the advantageous positions. So with Atletico Madrid, thus far in the season, I don't even know how they're going to line up. Is Schorloth going to be playing alongside of Alvarez up top? Are they going to start one or the other? Leipzig has been disappointing thus far in the season. Normally an over team looking like an under team. So I'm concerned with that match. I'm staying away. Nick Katstrusi, what's up, my man? Good to see you. Looking at a fourth play here, DK Boosty has Barcelona money line, Red Star over 1.5 first half corners, and Madrid Leipzig BTTS. I'm concerned with Madrid Leipzig. I would stay away. It's just, you got to watch Diego Simeone. Simeone has positioned Atletico Madrid a little bit differently this season. Even in last season, there have been more goals, but historically speaking, Diego Simeone loves competition ball. He is very, very tough to beat every single year, overperforming. His teams limp in. You don't know what you're going to get. Why? Because he's a tactical genius. He approaches each match with a different set of tactics, making it incredibly unreliable to find anything of note with Atletico Madrid. Julian Alvarez should be up there. Schorloth should be up there. There should be plenty of chances. But will they score? I really don't know. Leipzig, Openda's a solid striker, but he hasn't looked in tremendous form. They look a little disconnected. Is there even going to be space for these teams to roam around? Will we see a Man City Inter-like performance? 0-0, a little scared to push forward. What we're seeing in the Champions League so far is that 15 points should be enough for the 8-game slate. So if you look at each individual team, they're going to have 8 different matches. Some are going to look more important. Some are going to look more like they want to sit back, maybe want to shoot more for a tie. Seeding is really, really important. This whole format has everything messed up. It's hard to find similarity. Day 1 and day 2 were completely different. So what are we going to see on day 3? I don't necessarily know. Kylie, you want to live bet Elfsberg BTTS, Red Star BTTS together in a parlay? Don't hate it. I just don't like parlays. I think that is what the books want you to do typically, unless you're in the MLS. Then the MLS parlay, I feel, is actually of better value. Al, happy Thursday. Good to see you. Barcelona money line and Wirtz TSOA. Wirtz Leverkusen. He's going to have chances. He's going to be there in the attacking end. But as we saw thus far, the TSOA market, which is the 2-score or assist market, so you can take the ATGS, which is the anytime goal scorer, or the TSOA or TAOA, to assist anytime market. I would never, if you can, play the TSOA market, especially if you're going to be looking for Wirtz. He's very, very involved. But what Leverkusen are we going to see today? Are we going to see the Xabi Alonso of last season? Are we going to see the Xabi Alonso of this season? I don't know yet. So I'm not going to be putting a lot of money there unless I see early that Feyenoord is getting a lot of attacks. If they're getting a lot of attacks and creating a lot of havoc and that BTTS line comes down, it's a smash spot because Leverkusen should absolutely score. So it's really, for me, how is Feyenoord getting chances, getting into the attacking end of the opponent team, getting behind that defense, crossing and finishing. There, Jonathan Tah for Leverkusen is a mistake waiting to happen. So if it looks like they have some, if they're not disjointed up top, it's a really good look live, which is what I'm going to be doing personally. Gator fan, we have happy Thursday. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, we did miss our last 2 best bets here, Claudio. My apologies. We have a little bit of win equity from the weekend, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to push forward. These Champions League matches are super, super difficult. I think I misplayed yesterday. Should have probably played the over three and pushed, but I really felt comfortable with Salzburg, so that was my mistake. We got some difficult matches today again before it opens up a little bit on the weekend. So we're going to look for more tempting matches on the weekend. Nora Coping plus 1.5 looks tempting. Scary. Elfsborg could literally put up a 6-piece if they want to, but Nora Coping has had some great fixtures lately. I think that if you're going to play 1.5, you got to play the BTTS because Elfsborg score at least 2 in this match. Personally, Russell, I appreciate you being here. Al, good to see you. Would you play Leverkusen first half or the team total? If I was going to do anything first half, I may look at a first half goal parlay with Leverkusen and then combine that with, let's see. Let's pull up Fatma right now. Okay. Man, this is such a difficult slate. You look at it from top to bottom. Barcelona, over team, scoring, conceding regularly. Monaco, under team. Last season, absolutely were an over team, but not so far this season. I think they're going to be totally overmatched by this Barcelona team. So I don't necessarily know. It sometimes takes Barcelona a lot of time to score. I need to watch this game. Stade Brest, I need to watch it. Atletico Madrid, need to watch it. Arsenal, Atalanta. You guys know I love Arsenal. I do think that they win. But Atalanta is an over team, and Arsenal is an under team. Arsenal has City on Sunday in 3 days. Quick turnaround. Away and then away. Not comfortable there. There's a lot that people are looking at. Red Star Belgrade, all eyes on the Champions League. Benfica, all eyes on the Champions League. So I feel like both teams will come prepared. And then Leverkusen, Feyenoord. I do expect goals. More both teams to score, less over 2.5. But I do kind of see the over 2.5 coming in. Don't know which side as well. Sorry, losing my voice, talking so much. Stay away from the La Liga game today. Everything is very, very confusing on this Thursday. These teams are looking forward to their league play. Want to get out of Europe with the points. New format. Let's just take this easy. Let's look for a play on Hacken. Let's look to play Nora Coping. And let's look at Red Star versus Benfica. Both teams to score, and I got that at minus 150 for anybody still following. That concludes the episode today of Shots on Target with your host, Brad Betts, your go-to for football analysis and betting. Today is episode 19. It is Thursday, September 19th, and we will see you guys tomorrow.